We are live.
We are live indeed with the next instalment of the podcast that can never remember its full title. Are we the three amigos? Are we the triple crown? Are we the hat-trick heroes? We don't know. We just turn up to entertain you, lovely people of estate agency land. Right, so I'm going to dive in. We were talking about holidays off air, right? So I'm going to go straight into this. Right, with no preparation to you guys. So I've just come back from holiday, about a week ago, and all-inclusive, nice all-inclusive, nicey. The gap between really good customer service and the bit rubbish customer service was quite distinct in this one resort. Yeah, bear in mind that they're all working under the same umbrella. And I was sitting there, I was thinking. And I asked the girls, Charlotte and Wendy, I said, who do you think has been the best customer service we've had on this holiday? Yeah. And we all said the same three people. The woman in the smoothie bar, the bloke in the Greek restaurant, and a bloke in the Asian restaurant. They had all these different restaurants. And then I said to her, and I think this applies totally to estate agency or any business where you're with a customer, which is pretty much every small business I can think of has an element of customer interaction. And they were friendly, right? They worked hard. And by that, they were always the ones, and it was so true. They were the ones that were looking, right, where can I add a little bit? Where can I clean the table? Where can I ask, does this guy want to drink? Where can I top up their water? And this sort of stuff. Friendly, hardworking, and they had attention to detail. The attention to detail is, oh, you haven't got a spoon, here's your spoon. Right, right. So across the three of them, we tipped 150 euros, 50 euros each, because they looked after us for 10 days. And a little tip, estate agency people, there's a little tip. You can write this one down. Don't worry about what the other two, JP and Paul Long, are going to say over the next half hour. Get your tip. Identify who's good within the first 2-3 days. Tip them 20 euros. Then. Don't wait until the end, because what you do is you accelerate someone who's really good at service into someone who goes, my friend, come and sit down. Do you know what I mean? It works, and I've done that before on holidays. It works in absolute belter. Anyway, what do you think good customer service looks like, JP and Paul Long?
So I speak about this a lot. Like I love it, and I think customer service is a part of the bigger picture, which is the customer experience. So customer experience is exactly what you're talking about, Jesmondo, and it's how it made you feel. Customer service is kind of like if you drop a fork, how quickly it gets picked up at the restaurant, or how quickly you get through to Sky for a complaint, or how they talk to you on a complaint. That's service, and that is brilliant, right? And we remember service. But there's a lot of I'm a bit of a geek and I love my psychology. The experience we like more. So it's the experience that literally fires certain neurons in a certain part of your brain that makes you remember things. So there's a couple of restaurants that me, Jem, and the kids go to. The food's decent. It's good. I'm not going to say it's the worst ever, but it's not the best we've ever had. But we'll go there because of the experience. Because they make a fuss out of it.
On that. That's interesting. That go on.
Yeah. So one, I'm a tight bastard, so it's not.
But you're self-aware though.
yeah. But I'm going to tell you another one. But like, so I don't know. Jack plays football on a Wednesday night. So there's a little restaurant we've been going. So he's there for an hour and a half, rather than me just waiting, watching him and stuff. Me and Gemma and Bella go out, have a little bite to eat. So we've got this nice little restaurant place called Lyons Santoro. Decent food, not bad, not it's better than average. But we'll go there above any of the higher end stuff. Because when we walk in, they make a fuss of Bella and like, do you want to come get a straw with me? I know it sounds really weird, but she gets up, she trots up, and like they just joke around and stuff. And it's the experience. And she's now saying to us, "Can we go there?" When you go abroad, go, mate.
No. About the look. BA had a big push 30 years ago, maybe even longer, right, to get parents to bring kids on family holidays on BA, and the mantra was look after the kids, then you look after the parents. And it's so true. You've been a great example of that with this restaurant. Do you know what I mean? The kids are happy, the parents are.
Which is kind of ironic because when they do the safety thing, they say put your mask on first and then your kids. So it's
it's true, yeah. Unlucky.
There's another example of it. So it's all about the wow factor. right? It's all about the experience. It's the little memorable things. So, you know, when I coach my clients, it's all about coming up with something called the perfect market appraisal. We've kind of spoke briefly about this before, and it's like, what can we do different? Now, I always say this, and this might offend people, but I think deep down you'll understand, people will agree with what I'm saying. To be in the top 50% of agents in the UK, just don't be shit.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Just don't be shit. To be in the top 10 to 15%, do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. That's a pretty low bar to be in the top 15, 20%. I can't think of another industry where you've got to be just have a bit of integrity and you'll be in the top 20%.
I think that can apply to a lot of businesses, small to medium businesses in the UK, though, JP. I think there's so much shit out there making a living that the good ones should be thinking, right, I'm going to clean up here.
Well, again, when we had Castledine, you know, we grew to 11 branches quite quick. You know, I don't think we were absolutely exceptional, and this is probably going to rock people's world. I don't, you know, there's only a certain level that you can get to based on what you can pay people and the area you're in, and that you know, I would have loved to have started managing and selling £1 million plus houses, but some of the areas we're in, we couldn't. Therefore, you don't earn the income, blah blah blah. But one thing I did say we always had to do was give. We had minimum levels of service, right? We have minimum levels, and we wouldn't dip below that. And if we did dip below it and we got found out, we had to hold our hands up and apologize. And I think that got us in to the top tier of wherever market we operated in. But sort of going back to that perfect market appraisal, when we perfect valuation, when we speak about it, we say, right, well, what do your customers do? Well, let's go extra. Like, so how many touch points from when they pick up the phone to actually the questions that you ask on the market appraisal to get out the information to feed the valuer. So when he's going on the valuation, you've got forewarned is forearmed and more information. Daft little things like, and how we phrase things. So, you know, Jerry, have you or Wendy personally done any work to the property? Personally, we say, have you personally? So you're going to say, oh, I'll put the kitchen in, or Wendy did the bathroom or whatever. We feed that back to the valuer. So the valuer says, wow, is this Italian granite marble? Wow, amazing. Little things it's called psychology or sales. It's called seeding. So when you're walking past, you go, and that's an amazing view. I know just the buyer. I've got a couple of buyers who would love that view.
You know what, JP, if you ask me that question about what have you done today around the house, I'll be like, I put the bins out on a Wednesday. Literally would. Yeah.
And that'll sell your house. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff with customer service. And last one, then Paul will answer. The fact that I've told this story probably about 20, 30 times. There's a city apartments or city chambers apartments up in Edinburgh. We've been 3 times now on the Royal Mile. Absolutely brilliant, like an apart hotel type of thing. You get big apartments. So we went in way before COVID, probably 2 or 3 years before COVID, the whole touristy thing. So you pull up, there's no parking on the Royal Mile. You've got to park at the train station. When we parked up, and it's only until afterwards you think, I know how they knew it was us, because they asked for the car reg 2 weeks, 3 weeks before, and they did this and they did that. So when we pulled up, there was a bloke there. This is in the middle of the street. Open the door. Pleased to meet you, Mr. and Mrs. Paul. Gemma, I take it. Is this little Bella? Is that Jack? Fantastic. Can I get the cases, sir? Took our cases in. Sir, I'm not allowed to park your car, but if you go down here, here's this, here's that. So I parked the car, walked back up. 2 kids had a hot chocolate. Gemma had a coffee, paper there ready for me. Cases already in the room, already checked in, everything. Warm little cookies for the kids.
Warm, yeah.
Warm.
That's such a good little touch, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it was unbelievable, and it was the fact I'm telling you now, and all 2 people that are watching this will will love it. But I've told this story millions of times, and you know, we did this, and you know, went out, and then they didn't say hi. It was hi, Mr. Paul, hi Gemma, hi John. Always by your name. Always by your name. Would you like us to book breakfast in the hotel for you? Have you got a preference? If you let us know prior, we'll make sure where you want to sit, what you want. So anyway, as we were leaving, and this is just sounds the most obvious thing, they said, thank you for your stay. As a thank you, we want to offer you a 20% complimentary discount for next time you come. Didn't have to ask. So next time we came, which is about just before COVID, we went there and they said, I hope you don't mind, but we'll bump you up. We've upgraded you completely free of charge.
Imagine if you went now.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
That would be fine.
But it's just the little things that we don't do in business. We don't do as estate agents and letting agents.
You know what? We're all guilty of it as well. I'm not sort of saying, "Oh, we're perfect with our customers." Far, far from it. But like the thing that stood out, I don't know about you, Paul, but the thing that stood out about that whole experience was the warm cookies.
Yeah.
That takes a little bit of effort, by the way. You know, like you think, I've got the kids it. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, oh, nothing beats a warm cookie.
It's going back to your British Airways thing. Look after the kids and the parents.
Yeah.
So
really
I think, like you said, I think there's a lot of agents who just have to do the basics well. You know, we had a lady that used to work for us. She worked for us for over 50 years, actually. She was pretty much in the business when my parents bought it. So she started.
Did you say 50?
She was there for over 50 years in the business. She started when she was 17. And then when my parents bought it, she pretty much came with the business. And she's probably the best person I've ever seen for customer service. But she did things so simple that made that work. Yeah. So she literally smiled at everyone. She knew the name. She knew the name and remembered the name of every single person she met. So she had a very good memory, but she remembered the name. But she didn't just remember the name. In the conversation, she showed enough interest to find out what the kids' names were and what Mrs. name was. So when that person walked back in the office, you know, a year later, she would remember one of those things, and those people would just be really impressed just because she showed real interest in them. So,
and was she genuinely like that? Because that's something I think we spotted. The three that we spotted were genuinely nice, helpful, friendly people. Because I saw them. It's very interesting with like service staff or service people. I think the word staff is how they interact with each other. And these guys, they were helping their mates. Do you know what I mean? They were friendly, having the crack sort of thing. So was she like genuinely?
Yeah, she was genuinely like that. She was. I'll be telling you, she was pretty useless at everything else, but she didn't need. She didn't need to be good at everything else because she got the business. You know, she remembered people's names. They came back to her because they just felt that bit special, rather than, you know, just coming back and her not remembering. She knew their name. She always smiled. She knew more than just their name. She always tried to find out more about them. So just showed real interest in her conversations with clients. Where I think a lot of people go wrong is that it's just tick boxes, isn't it? You know, conversations with tick boxes.
So we've just taken on a couple of staff for the tech business, and it's going quite well. We've got an appointment set. He's basically BDM, and we've got a client services manager, so somebody to look after the accounts because we're taking on more properties, which is more business, which is good. And the BDM, really good guy, got a lot of grit, a lot of determination, picking up the phone and calling out. But one of the things I've had to sort of kind of pull him up on, and I don't mind sharing this because I'm pretty much an open book, is when he can't get through, it's like, oh, stuff him, screw him. They don't want us to. I'm like, whoa, just you don't have that. He comes from the energy sector where they've got a lead, they've got 20, 30,000 people to call through. It's like, do you want our business? No, screw you back. Do you want your business? No, screw you back. Very volume. And I went, no, everybody needs Prospector Pro. They're just not ready for it yet. Yet. Because the pain point of the notes, the picking up the phone and calling out, they're getting the business, it's maybe the riding high, and it's a good little bit of an air. So don't go F them. We're never going to call them again. And a prime example was I've got a demo this week. I won't mention his name, embarrass him. We first contacted him last year, and he's not turned up for 2 demos, which is one thing I want to talk about. He's not turned up for two demos. He said he's going to call us back 3 or 4 times, and he hasn't. He opens the emails because I can see, because we've got that email tracker on, and we've probably had, no word of a lie, 25, 30, maybe 35 touch points, and he's actually called us. Right. And I said to the BDM, that is proven my point that we weren't right for them then, but we are now. And when we get the inbound calls, and this is the thing where we'll have to take the marketing on board. We'll have to look at the marketing like, you know, what do we need to say and how do we need to come across to show that we are the solution for people? The fact is, we've only been going 2 minutes, but it's trying to get across to the team that customer experience will force people to come. People will come back and they'll beat your door down if you give them repeat customers, if you give them great customer service.
Was that what inspired us? Or a post of yours in your group? Was it last week about the follow-up?
Mate, totally, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really interesting. You know what, as well? Funnily enough, it was this morning. One of our members said she's not winning as many instructions as she'd like because she goes, I hate following up. It feels pushy. Now, I know Michelle Gallagher said exactly the same thing, but she said, what I do is now I'll follow up or I'll prospect by saying, and it's not just a shameless hook for my guides. She'll go, oh, you were a first-time seller. You might be interested. We spoke a few months ago. We've now got a guide about that if you'd like it.
Yeah.
Or do you want to switch agents? Or, you know, have a reason.
Yeah.
Beyond just, do you want to use our service? No, thank you. Bye. Do you know what I mean? Have a sort of reason. I think as well, anything to do with landlords, what I've noticed is when we do a piece of content, we say to our guys, if there's new legislation, ring up the landlord. But ring them up. Don't just send it to him. Ring them up and say, would you like this? Okay, I'll send you it. And that, like you said, that just creates a little bit more rapport, a bit more feeling, a bit more experience.
We've got probably about 10 or a dozen multi-branch agencies who are not quite ready to use us because they want a feature that we've told them about. It's a sales progression one, right? But we're still touching base. We're still sending emails. And when it comes out, it's like, right, you asked for it. We did it. Bang. But we're touching base every 1 week, 10 days, explaining what's going on. Again, because we've got the email tracking thing, we can see when they open it. We know they are. We're getting the odd thanks for the update, John. Thanks for the update, blah, blah, blah. And the funds are in the follow-up, as the Americans say. And they reckon 10% of businesses follow up any sales interaction, and 30% of the total amount of business is won at that stage on the follow-up. That's 10% globally of all business. Only 10% follow-up, like it was 9 point something. So you think about it, by following up, you're in the top 10% of the world in small business.
Yeah.
And like by following up, like I'm trying to remember what it was. I got a email, and some of the big companies global companies are so shit at this. It's unbelievable. They'll only drop you an email, like I think Nike or New Balance, whoever it was, because they had a sale. Oh my God, their content strategy could be amazing. Could you imagine the information within Nike?
Yeah.
They the Nike weekly email tip. And if I buy a pair of running trainers, mine's always football boots for Charlotte's. It's so simple, right? They could be sending a weekly email to me about Nike women football or female football, because they'll think, oh, dad, and he buys for his daughter, or he's a mum and she's obviously. But do you see what I mean? And these are big companies. So imagine what estate agents could do.
So I'm going to give you a good example of the product. You would think is so seasonal, it's untrue, but they've got one of the best follow-ups and marketing I've ever seen. There's a really, really good Christmas tree manufacturer called Balsam Hill.
Right, yeah.
Right, they're very good. Like we've got the fake, but they're like really realistic and they're not cheap. And we obviously Christmas. So you're thinking, well, they can only market between flipping halfway through November and what probably is a week before Christmas. They've got like a 6-week window in the entire year. I'm getting fortnightly to weekly emails off.
That's seeding. That's like you said, isn't it? That's almost
all
seeding.
The time. And they're doing Christmassy offers, so they're knocking 300-400, like 20-30% off or whatever it is. They're doing like and by the way, everything's kind of Christmassy or Thanksgiving-y related. So it's not as if like, hi, I have this summer bauble. There's none of that stuff where it changes. They are staying true to their core product. They are just seeding. And I think, some businesses will do 90% of their business in like a 1-month window. Yeah. These will be one of them, but top of mind. So when it comes to, looking for a Christmas tree, although I'm definitely not spending that sort of money again, it'll be generally like, oh, should we get one of them? Nope. But it's in the top of your mind.
But this, what do you reckon, Paul? Because me and JP have been talking a lot.
I think the follow up is vital to remain top of mind. But one of the other things that you forget in our industry is that you can really sort of pre-frame people in using your services with that follow up. So if you put the right content out, it's going to change their decision about who they're going to use. If you're putting social proof out there, if you're educating them, if you're allowing them to see a bit more about you and your team. Those bits of content are only going to help sway this decision. So the follow-up doesn't just have to be, as you said, do you want to use our services? It can be really thought out, and it can be evergreen. So you can start creating follow-up processes where you really are pre-framing and persuading someone to use your services without them knowing.
Well, to back you up there, Paul, we've just been looking at our email marketing strategy. So, we're pushing people towards a funnel. Don't mind sharing it. We've got two things: the advert that you did for us, Paul, and then we've got a lead magnet. And you download it. You go into a 5-6 version email. Try and get your book on a demo. If you don't book a demo after 6, then you go to the normally weekly one. If you go to book a demo but don't put all the information in, you go into another series of 5-6 emails, and each of the emails is showing you, like, it's not salesy. It's teaching you about the benefit of using the software. So it's not like a feature related. It's a benefit. It's like, and they call it agitate the itch. So if you're selling, so you'd be talking about things that a homeowner, like, if you've been on the market for ages, don't worry, this is where we've got you. And if you look at the laws of influence, social proof and authority. So authority is things like statistics and quotations and showing you can do what you say you're going to do. And we just do it so badly as estate agents. I don't know many people who, look, we all know who does funnels and all that sort of crap, but the funnels is nothing. It's the content. It's what Jerry writes. That's what's important.
I think it's really important. And I had a good example of this today, because I said to one of our team as well, get on the phone. Stop hiding behind the email. And she got back to me and said, yeah, it worked. I had a good chat. Person's interested in something, and we helped them with something. That's the main thing for me. Do you imagine if they don't worry about selling product or anything like that? If you help someone, talking about those laws, it's the law of reciprocity as well.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, it is.
Do you know what I mean? So they'll go, oh yeah. And you know what it's like? If somebody's helpful, I know you two are the same. It's like, if someone's done something for me, I will do something back for you. Don't worry about that. I'm not one, but don't get me wrong. There are people that will just take, and then you think, they can screw themselves. I ain't gonna help them.
There are people. You're right, and every interaction has got to be for them. There's got to be a monetary output, and there doesn't. Value. You should concentrate on giving value. If you give value, the money will come. It's a bit like people and profits. Everyone talks about, well, we've got to make money. Make sure you've got the best processes and the best people, and money will just come hand over fist.
Yeah, it will come. When we built the initial flush of members we had with the Content Club, we weren't even money focused.
Yeah.
We were, JP, you were my coach at the time. So
tell you raise your prices.
Yeah, you got me to raise the prices.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, but that was just, that's another thing. We should raise it again, but we won't. But it was at the time, it was COVID. We realised there was loads of people at home doing sod all. And we said, right, we're going to do a piece of content every day for our members. Do you remember? It went, and thankfully it's always sort of stabilised. But I think it's so interesting what you said, the money will come. To go back to those waiters in the restaurants, they were doing it. Don't get me wrong, not everyone's going to tip them. Not everyone's going to be generous or forward thinking, or some people just assume. But I bet you they were the best tip waiting staff in that resort, because they were so good, and money will come to them. They'll just be like, do you know what I mean? So,
I don't like. We're saying we're going to we're quite lucky and fortunate. We're going to America next week, and we're on the various Orlando groups, Facebook groups, and they're on about the tipping culture over in America. It's expected 20%.
I don't like that.
I hate it. We're going to do it because apparently it's just the done thing. But good service deserves reward, not just as an expectation.
Yeah. In Japan, I travelled in Japan, right? And I went to tip a taxi driver. It came to however many yen, and I may just round it up. Let's say 200 yen. To go here, just take. They don't accept a tip.
Yeah,
really?
They're very. They only take the money to the point. So
and I was like, no. And then there was a bit of lost in translation.
Yeah.
It's like, no, not really.
Has to be to the point. It can't be over or yeah.
But interestingly, in that Japanese culture, there's a sense of pride in whatever you do. And a Japanese girl was telling me this, who I was speaking with, And she said, what it is, if they're a trained person, because when the trained people walk through the train guard, they bow. Every time they turn around, they bow to everyone in the carriage as they go out, yeah? And people were just thinking, just this conversation, well, why do they do that? She said, because they've got pride in what they do.
Yeah, massive.
And you must see that with your guys, with your team players, the best ones are proud of what they do.
Oh, absolutely. They don't do it for any other reason than providing value and a good service.
Yeah.
The girl we've just taken on, Anna, we had, I'll show you, we had over 250 CVs, applications for the role. We've had 400 for the appointment setter. I mean, I'm talking with all due respect, like, even though you've got what you want, you're getting forklift truck drivers and KFC and all that sort of stuff. So, but the one thing that we liked about Anna was she turned around and she focused on the service. And I know talk is cheap, but she's only been here, it's only a second week, and straight away you can see it. It's about, like, I need to speak to the clients. We had to tell her, no, you're not allowed to speak to the clients for the first week. No, I want to speak to them. I want to get to know them. That for us was just like, we've made the right decision here. It was all about, how can I get them using the system more? How can I retain them? How can I, right, they're only making 10 calls a day. How can I get them up to 15, 20 calls? How can I help them make more money and serve their clients better? It's brilliant. It's real good.
I love that.
It's a bit like Paul's, the example you give of that lady who came with the business your mum bought. It's care about your clients. You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
100%. You know what? I heard it once. Somebody said, I would buy anything from them because I know they've got my best interests at heart.
Love that. Yeah, good. Like that.
Yeah. The person was talking about me as well. Thank you.
Oh, I thought it was like Ann Summers or something like that.
Yeah, it was a drug dealer. We're not far from the truth. That's interesting. So we didn't really have an agenda today, did we? We sort of winged it, did we, Paul? I can't remember. JP never chips in the agenda emails.
Well, I think the agenda's gone out the window, but that was a really good conversation about customer service.
I think it's a genuinely fascinating subject. I really am interested. Not much interests me anymore, but that does. That does, really does.
Yeah. Can I just one little thing that I want to talk about, and that's how you do the little things is how you do everything. And I like that phrase, and it's not born out of any particular incident or anything like that. I just think that the more we are as agents take everything seriously and do what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it, regardless of our position, I think that resonates across the business. I think that sets a massive example. And I think we all need to do a little bit more of that. I think we need to start professionalizing this industry from a customer experience point of view, probably from a regulatory point of view as well. And I know, again, that's a little bit controversial because people say, well, it's not the good ones that need regulating, it's the poor ones. But again, it's probably one of the only ways we can actually regulate the industry as a whole, because you can't pick and choose who's regulated. You've got to do it all or nothing. Yeah. But yeah, I think from a mindset, if you've got it, I think it definitely starts up here. How you do the little things is how you do everything, from preparation to carrying it out to the follow-up. I think it's a very important point we need to practice more.
Preparation is an interesting one because I've got back into sort of working out and fitness and stuff like that now, and it is literally, you know, where they say get your stuff ready the night before, or make sure, like we've done little things like make sure there's water in the gym.
Yeah.
So there's no excuses. Once you're in the gym, you're in the gym. You ain't going to go back down to the house, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? So that little bit of the preparation. And to name check Michelle Gallagher as well, the way she prepares for a viewing is very impressive. For evaluation is very, very impressive. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
In what way? Like how does she prepare for it?
So she'll only book a certain amount during the day because she said she gets too tired if she's not at her best if she has like 10 or 9 or 8. I think it's
self-awareness.
4 or 5, something like that. And there's gaps in between, so she can not go, I've got to be there at 11 and I've got to be there at 11:45 and there's no window. There's like little chunks in her day, and she keeps it. She's quite rigid there. She'll prepare. It's built into her working day to prepare for the valuation. So she says she's got all the guides, all the information, anything she needs, all printed off on a desk, and she can just come along. It's in a pack, swoop it. That's part of the preparation. just that preparation of having everything prepared, waiting to go. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think if I can find the video, I'll send it on to you. But I had a chat with her about her process, and it's just fascinating. And like she said, it's discipline rather than genius.
I was just going to say that, and this is all due respect, because I think the absolute bloody world of Michelle. There was nothing there that was special. Just put your guides, put your things, do this, do this. It's just, but what she is, and I've always said this about Michelle, she's probably the most consistent estate agent I know.
Yeah. That what she's doing is very, like you say, very small differences. And in our industry, there isn't many differences, and the public will notice those sort of differences.
Yeah.
So when she turns up and she pulls out a guide that's connected to their move, or she says, "Oh, I know that you're doing this," they're the things that they're going to make their decisions on, because there's nothing else that they can really make the decisions on.
Or to go full circle to what JP said about have you done the work? These questions, these answers that you feed on to whoever's going to go and do the evaluation, you know, like somebody would go, "Oh, I see you've got new doors at the back of that, and they look nice. They're the new ones that I heard about." And they're like, "Yeah, they are." Do you know what I mean? "Oh, yeah, they are. Well, I've done these, blah, blah, blah." Do you know what I mean? So it is fascinating. Okay, right. Here's a question for you. Think of the best customer services you've ever had from anywhere. What's the first one that springs to mind? I've got one, but I'll let you two go first. It can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be.
You go first.
Yeah. My one's actually at my honeymoon at a hotel, so similar to your experience. But do you know what, the thing that impressed me the most, again, something very simple. These are the simple things. Was that everyone knew my name, and it was only because, simple thing, they had at their desk, they put your name in, a picture would come up, you know. So, or they asked for your room number, you put your name and picture comes up, you know. They had that everywhere possible. They had a screen which they sat in front of them, and they could easily find out what your name was, and then they were made to try and remember as many names as they could. It just made such a difference.
For me, it was the Royal Mile, the chambers on the Royal Mile. I just think that was it's the most recent one. Then you've got the likes of like your Disney things and stuff like that. But in the main, it's the closest one to home is probably that.
Yeah, mine was my old opticians. I used to travel, even when we moved down here. I used to travel up to London to get my eyes tested or buy glasses or contact lenses, and that was pure. Why was that? That's one that I think they nailed everything.
Yeah,
I've been there for 30 years. I'll give you an example. They knew that I had a short-lived triathlon career. Very short. I literally signed up for something, then I read into it. I thought, I ain't doing that. It's mental. But he follows me on Facebook, and we're friends on Facebook. And they said, "Jerry, what we're going to do is get you a goggles, you know, like prescription goggles to help you with your triathlon. We know you're doing it for charity." I ended up doing a marathon, by the way, rather than a triathlon. They sent them for free.
No way.
I tell you, yeah. So that's got to be £100. Do you know what I mean? The lifetime value of my business to them would have been 30 years I was with them before they sold. Yeah, and I think that's something that's a point that estate agency or most businesses, a lot of businesses, forget the lifetime value of someone.
Yeah.
Lifetime value of being of service to someone could, especially in the estate agency, it could be astronomical.
Well, I can't remember the figures, but Chris Watkin came up with something about how many sellers use the same agent again, and I think it's less than 10% or something.
Really?
Now that has a knock-on effect with how expensive your marketing has to be, because you've got to get 90% new clients and customers. Just stay in touch, and this is the follow-up. Even if you lose the listing, they're not dead. Yeah. You know, they haven't moved to bloody Mars. They just decided not to use you. Try and win them back.
You know, like if you lose the instruction, I know agents will send good luck cards to the person.
Of course,
or a thank you card for allowing us the opportunity to come and value. If you really need a second opinion, here we are. The people that have done that, I'll ask my group if anyone's still doing it. But I remember the one guy that did it said he always gets a response to that piece of marketing. Ultimately, just reminding them.
Makes it easy for them to reach back out. It's just
it takes away that awkwardness, doesn't it?
Yeah. He doesn't hate me. Yeah. But I think rather than looking at every lead as business, it's just starting a relationship, starting to build a relationship.
And I wonder if lead is the wrong word to use.
Yeah, exactly. It should be build a relationship. Start building a relationship. On it. One thing to finish off, which I was going to share, was that we've been doing a lot of stuff with conversational AI bots at the moment. So we're talking about customer service here, and I was so surprised how good they are at the sort of the right approach to conversations and the customer service. So they all start. They don't go straight in for the lead. So there's none of this sort of you think that they just want the business. It is very conversational, and I call it that sort of bartender chat. When you go up to a bar and they chat to you about how was your day, what you've been doing, and then they ask you what you want, and they are very good at doing that. So unlike myself, I'm guilty of it. I just want to get the job done, so what do you want, how much, but they are very good at going around the long route and getting good results.
What if I was to ask, are you a robot to it, or are you an AI? What would they do? They come back and say, yes, I am? Or
you can set what you want. So I think this is one of the things which a lot of people worry about, is that you can put those boundaries in. You can say, if anyone asks you if you're an AI bot, say this, or you can have more control of what it does. So you can put certain boundaries in. You can put temperature gauges in on how far it can go away from those instructions. So yeah, you can have how you want. But I personally think where we'll end up is that we're going down another conversation here, but I think it'd be quite normal to say, hey, I am an AI bot, and that's how it will start. I don't think it'd be.
And that was one thing I noticed with travel recently. Like these self-service checkouts in Tesco's that you get. Like I noticed that when we landed at Gatwick, they've got them for your passport. Oh my God, it makes life easier.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes life so much easier, by the way. It was like, I felt like walking past the fella who was checking them, going, you're gonna, mate, you should start looking for a job, because you will be on your ass. You'll be on your ass for 6 months after everyone cops over this. The other thing was, we checked our bags in. That was a little bit of a faff, because Wendy was 1 kilo over. And the guy said to us, if it wasn't a machine, we'd just go, it's 1 kilo, don't worry about it. He said, you've got to sort it out, otherwise you're going to pay extra and you'll have to go over there and wait an hour. But the automation in the travel industry, that's where you do think this actually is going to help us. And there's elements of that, like what you do with Prospector Pro, all the stuff you do, Paul, is going to help agents. And I think it makes time for the real personal stuff. I don't think you should ever.
That's what I was going to say. What I've learned from this is that, yes, they are brilliant at doing the sort of the first stuff, but there is still a human needed conversation. That human element, that human touch. So you can take up to a certain level very, very well. But I still think it's going to raise the standards of customer service, because otherwise, if agents are having the same conversations that they've always had, bots will be able to do
talk about connection, and you'll like this, JP, because I know you're into your data and stuff that's scientifically backed up. All right. Have you ever heard of blue living zones around the world? The blue zones. Right. Interesting. They always live longer than other people in different areas, and they're all scattered around the world. Right. They're in Greece. They're in part of Japan, and they're in Italy and Spain, and there's some other areas. These people regularly live to 100 years old, 80, 90 years plus. Right. And what book was I reading? I'll try and remember it, and then I'll pop it in the group. And they said about the blue zones, the thing that makes them stand, there's several things that makes them stand out for living so long. The number one was connection. Human interaction. It's so important that we don't realize, especially in this disconnected world. And it did make me think. I read the book, I listened to the book, and I messaged a few old mates. And you know what? The weird thing is, they went, I've been meaning to contact you for ages, but I never get around to it. It's so important, connection.
Yeah, to back that up. So I watched the video, and then this just shows you never judge a book by a cover. So I was watching a video, and then I was talking to my builder yesterday, doing a refurb on one of my rentals. Didn't realize he's got like a counselling degree and all sorts. He just did it for shits and giggles. And I was telling him about it because we were about connection, like mental health and all that sort of stuff. And I think the guy was called Johan. Somebody was like a psychologist, psychiatrist, very, very clever guy. And basically it was all about connection, and it was addiction. So they took rats and they put them in a big cage, and they had water, just normal water. And then they put water laced with heroin. Surprise, surprise, They got addicted to the heroin, right? And then this Johan guy said, but they're just in a cage. So he basically built a rat city, right?
Wow.
A rat city for them to play in little wheels and all that sort of stuff.
Really?
They ignored the heroin water and they just drank the normal water.
Well, because they were in the rat city and go, oh, we're hanging out with all our mates.
They had connections. So they had something to do. They had connections. And this is where addiction is. So when you get addicted to something, you lack some sort of human connection. That's why the 12 Steps Here program is very successful, because you're connecting to other people who understand. That's why masterminds are very good, and having a good friends group, and you know, having the people around you to bounce off. So it's all about the connections to other humans. It's interesting.
Brilliant. Yeah, and science backs it up. That's what I loved about this film. Was backs it up. And the other thing was as well, these people, I think this is something that affects estate agents. It's a very sedentary job. You sit in a car, you sit at a desk, you might walk around the house, big deal. But I bet you a lot of agents are probably a bit overweight. Yeah. Probably not doing enough. Don't get me wrong, there's some like who's the guy that does all the ultra marathons and things like that. But they're an outlier. Those really active agents, But you know, the sedentary part of it, these people that live to 80, 90, 100 like regular, they're all like, and they're active. They're not just living there, they're 90 in a home and they're fucked. They are really physical. And the guy said the more you move as you get older, the more chance you've got of surviving. It's like science behind it. So it's things like that. And they didn't smoke 100 fags a day. That's why I like the argument.
Right. Are we going to wrap this up?
I enjoyed that, actually. Connection, everyone. It's all about connection.
It is. It is. But listen, guys, thanks very much for watching. It was a long one. It was 40 odd minutes, but hope you all enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time for the. Oh, he's gone. See you then. See you then, guys. Bye.